Hello guys, welcome back to the tutorial about how to recreate this scene in Unity. So in this tutorial I will show you phase 2, which is to click on the menu, the door shows up, the camera stops, and then you have to click again to go to the actual game. But first, you can see that the infinite bridge is not only spawning the same prefab. You can see that there's some variation. So we are gonna do it real quick now in Unity, and then we go to phase 2. It's really simple. Just to create another prefab, and you check that it's not always spawning the same prefab. So let's go back to Unity. Okay, so here we are on Unity, and the first thing we are gonna do is to create a clone of this prefab, but changing the color. So for that, drag the prefab into the scene. Let's get rid of the static bridge for now, so we can see the prefab. Now unpack the prefab, so it's not longer attached to this one. So if we want to make some changes, it will happen to this prefab. First of all, change the name to bridge B. Perfect. And as we are prototyping, I'm not gonna rename those four game objects, because as we are gonna be using the same animator and the same animation, you can see here that the keyframes and all that are assigned to these names. If I change the number to bridge B01, I would need to also change the number, the name. I will change the name here so it works. But the thing is that if I change this one to bridge B01, then this prefab, it's not working anymore. So I'm gonna be using those names now just for prototyping. Okay, so now let's change the color. We can go to all of these ones, select the material and drag and drop to the element 0 of materials. We're gonna be changing the lead one to a new material that I created, that it's just a simple one with some color. If you want to copy the color, that's the color. Okay, and now we are gonna drag and drop the prefab here, and we can see that we have different prefabs with different colors. Okay, so now get rid of this one, and let's go to code. Okay, so what I did here is to have a new reference for the second prefab. Okay, and then we need some variable to measure how many prefabs we have spawned. And let's go to the spawn bridge function. So yeah, before what we did was, if we are in the phase 1 and can spawn a new bridge, we put this one to false, so it's not doing every update, and then we just instantiated the prefab, right? And then this other part. So now what we are gonna do is, if we have 3 or less spawned prefabs, we're gonna spawn the prefab number 1. If we already have 3 of these ones, then we are gonna spawn the number 2, and we are gonna reset the counter. Okay, so really easy to understand. So let's go to here, drag the prefab number 2 there, perfect, and activate the static bridge. If I hit play, you can see that every 3 prefabs that are gray, it will show a new one which is purple. So this is cool because we can add some variation later with the models, right? So Genshin has those little variations, so we can also do that. Okay, so now we have prefab number 1 and prefab number 2. Let's create another one, which will be the last prefab that we instantiate, and this one will contain the door also, and all the animation for the door that is building itself and all that. Okay, so again, drag and drop any of these ones, then go to prefab, unpack, perfect, and just call this one, oops, let's call it final bridge prefab, for example. And now here I'm gonna get rid of the static bridge again so we can see. Perfect. Now what I'm gonna do is to create some simple cubes to act like the door, so we can visually see that this is the last prefab. So yeah, let's create 3D object cube. Let's call door 01, and now let's go to like this, for example, 3, well, not 3, oh yeah, 3, and this one too, for example. On a scale on X, I'm gonna put 0.5, and here, oops, okay, now let's do it real quick. Okay, so we have the left part of the door. Now I'm gonna duplicate this, Control D, and so this will be our door. Okay, this is just prototyping, so don't worry. Okay, we are gonna create a new material also. Let's change the color to, I don't know, something like green, so we can visually see it. Rename this to final bridge material. Perfect. And now we can assign all of this the material. It's gonna be okay, green. Okay, perfect. So we have the animation, and what what is cool about this is also the animation works with the door. You can see that we have the door somehow building itself also, so that's cool. Don't worry, later we will change all of this. So again, drag again the prefab to the folder, and we can get rid of this one. Static bridge, perfect. And now to the script, we can drag and drop the final prefab, and I'm gonna make a quick change here to public, so we can actually change the game face in the editor, so we can see if the spawner is working. I will show you now the code. So it's building itself, 1, 2, 3 prefabs, then the purple one. If I, oops, let me close that. If I change this one to 2, okay, you can see that the last prefab is spawned, and there's no more prefabs spawning. Just stay there. Now we need to do something with the camera, but it's working. So let's see the code. Okay, so once we have the last prefab done, which will be this one, I'm gonna show you now the code. First thing first, we need to add a new reference for the last prefab, and we are gonna be using a new variable for phase 2. It's gonna be doing the same thing as can spawn edge bridge, but joder, cago en la puta, tío. Okay, so now that we have the final prefab done, let's go back to the code. So obviously we need a new reference for the final prefab, and we are gonna be needing a new boolean variable with phase 2. A lot of this code could be improved, but I'm gonna make it really simple so everyone can understand it, right? So keep that in mind. Okay, so we've done phase 1, and now we are gonna change to phase 2. So before we have this code right here on phase 1, so let's do it again on phase 2, but only with the final bridge prefab. So if we are gonna be, well, if we are in phase 2 and the last bridge hasn't spawned yet, we put this variable to true. This is just, again, it's all the same. It's just for this function not to be spawning prefabs on each update. So if we haven't spawned the last bridge yet, we put this to true, so it only happens once. Then we spawn the last prefab and get rid of the parent. It's the same code, okay? I know this could be better written, but I think like this is way too clear, so people can understand it. We go back to the game and press play. As soon as the game phase change, we no longer spawn some more prefabs, and we spawn the last one. So that's it. But as you can see, let me here go to something like 7. This is just a timer for when it changes to the next phase, so don't worry. As you can see, the camera is moving, but once the game phases change, the camera stops. It's not moving at all. So we need to fix that. So let's go back to the code. Okay, so here we are again. Let's add some variables that we are gonna need. First, we are gonna need a new position, so the camera, once the phase 2 is activated, the camera moves to that position. So this will be the final position, right? And then the camera settings is just to so we can adjust the speed of the movement, right? So we need to add a line of code here that basically is that once when the final prefab is spawned, we are gonna get the information of this variable, of this game object. this will be a new game object that we are gonna create in the final prefab. That is gonna be basically the position of the camera once the phase 2 is done. Okay. So don't worry, I'm gonna show you right now in the editor. But that's for the spawn of the last bridge. We need to add this line of code. And then for the move camera, again we had the game phase 1, so now we need to make the game phase number 2. So in order to move the camera, what we are gonna use is this function called lerp, which interpolates between 2 points. So the first point will be the position of the camera. The second point will be the final position that we want the camera to be. And then this variable is just the speed. If you have more speed, it will perform the movement faster, and if you decrease the speed, it will do it slower. So let's go back to the editor, and as you can see here in the prefabs, I'm gonna drag it to the scene so you can see it. Get rid of the static bridge, and now I added this game object. What this game object is just the position at that the camera will be. You can move this position around as you like, but this will be the position that the camera will land. At the end of phase 2, the camera will be here. So in order for this to work in the code, I use this line which has this function GameObject.find. This is important that you use the same name here and here, because if not, it won't get the information. So you can name it whatever you want. I just name it the same as the variable, but this name and this name must be the same. So just, I don't know, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to the code. Okay, keep that in mind. So once we've done that, I'm gonna go again to the game view, static bridge, activated, get rid of the prefab. Well, obviously you override that prefab before deleting the prefabs. If not, it won't save the changes. And then here, just drag and drop the prefab to the final bridge prefab, like this, and that's it. The camera deceleration speed, I use it 0.5. This is just to make it prettier, but it's just a range between almost 0 and 1. If you select 1, it will do the movement very fast. If you select 0.1, it will do it very slow. I think 0.5 is cool, so let's hit play. And now you will see once the game phase goes to 2. Look. The camera just moves. You can see here. The camera just moved to this point that we just created on the prefab. And that's it. By the way, guys, if you want to know what this code is all about, it's just very simple. You get the load game manager script, you get some seconds input, and once the game starts, it's
it makes this coroutine, which just wait for the seconds you told and then performs the function next phase, which in this is just to increase the game phase. Okay, just I'm showing you just in case you have any sort of doubt, but this is too easy. Just wait for any amount of seconds and then just increase the game phase. Okay guys, so we already did the second phase, which is that the camera stops and we can see the door. So let's do it real quick, the phase 3, that will be to move the camera again into the door and then the game loads. So let's open the prefab again here, scene, get rid of the static bridge, see where it is. Okay, perfect. So we are gonna be creating a new empty game object. So create empty and call this phase 3 camp position, because this will be the new position of the camera, right? So as the height of the last one was 1.5, I'm gonna be doing exactly the same, 1.5. And then the camera, we want that the whole view gets like this. So you can see that it's not really this deep into the prefab, but more like, I don't know, maybe something like this. So I'm gonna put just 0.4 and let's see, later we can adjust this position. Then hit override, apply, and we can get rid of this prefab. Perfect. We enable again the static bridge, and then what we are gonna do is, in the code, what I've done is to create a new vector 3 which will store the position that we just created, and then once the move camera function goes to game phase number 3, it will move the camera from the position that the camera has to the new position. It's the same line of code, but with different phases. Again, this could be written more optimized, or better. I think I could. Again, this could be written more optimized, but I think that if I write the code like this, it's visually more easy to understand. Okay, again, this code could be more optimized. This is not the way of writing code, because there's too much line that are making the same functions. But again, I'm writing this, as you can see here, because it's visually easier to understand, I think, in my opinion. So again, if you know how to write proper code, you can write all this function in proper code. But I'm gonna be writing it like this because I think it's easier to understand. So yeah, we have this. So let's test it. I'm gonna go to this code then, and we are gonna wait some seconds for go to the phase 2, and then we are gonna wait the same amount of seconds to go to phase number 3. So instead of 7 seconds, I'm gonna put maybe 4 or something like this, so it's not too much. And hit play. Let's see. We have here we are on phase 1, then we change to phase 2, and now we've changed to phase 3, and you can see that we can this now fade it into white or into black as you want, and then just load the next scene of the game. So yeah, this is the prototyping, and I think in the next episode I will be doing the polish for the game, because obviously this is not really pretty, this is not beautiful, you know. So I will be replacing the models, making some smoke effects, and yeah, maybe add some other architecture or something like that, because here you can see that, save it, that this looks way more professional, to be honest. But at the end, it's the same. It's the same technique. I only changed the models. I put these prefabs on the scene, and I made a fake UI, because if you click on here, there's nothing. It's just so where you click, it goes to the animation of the last bridge prefab that we already did, and then when you click again, it goes into the door. So the idea is already made, and now what's left is just to polish the game so it looks more like Genshin Impact. But again, the main core is done, guys. So see you in the next one.